Hope all of you are doing great. I know that it's a bit of a tough time, and it would have been really nice if we have kind of live sessions, but the environment doesn't support that. But good that we all have the technology. It's very much supportive, so that we can have these kind of sessions going on. And to start, I mean, before moving to the topic today, that is introduction to ERP. To set the stage, I choose a particular photo or few photos because today is a very important day, as I see. One is, of course, we have this session. But when you look at different days, there are special things happened on these days, and really interesting thing. And if you can see your right hand side, there is a person. The top right side, there is a person with a mustache. Can anyone recognize that person? To make it a dialogue kind of thing.
Is it Maxim Gorky?
Fantastic. Yes, it's Maxim Gorky. Actually, he died on a day like today in 1936, and his masterpiece, we all know that mother, in Sinhala we call it Amma, which is regarded as one of the greatest of stories all time. Great. And he died on a day like today, June 18th, 1936. And to his right, that's to our left side, there is a war. Can someone identify that? What's the incidents? Bit difficult, I guess. On June 18th, on a day like today, importantly, 1815, actually, Napoleon Bonaparte was defeated in the Waterloo battle by Duke Wellington. So that was also a critical incident, because France was, capturing all the countries, and Napoleon was ruling the France and try to increase his power, but ultimately he also failed, and Battle of Waterloo ended on a day like today, 1815. And the third one is the Nobel Literature, as well as Prime Minister of United Kingdom, Winston Churchill, gave his third speech on a day like today. Actually, it's very famous. He has given three main speeches before he ruled the country, and they were regarded as one of the greatest speeches of all time. And the third one was given on a day like today. And I captured this when I was reading through the Wikipedia. That's a free encyclopedia. And in my days, when I was school, that's somewhere around 2001, we didn't have any encyclopedia to read all these things. It's all about news, television news, radio news, and newspapers. But nowadays, we all have a lot of tools and a lot of facilities to learn about different things, different interest areas, and the technology facilitate that. So if you have the will, then there are plenty to learn. And learning ERP is also a very important aspect, as I see, because you all will move on to take up your career challenges near future, and understanding the business background, how businesses are progressing and performing, and what are the activities happening in businesses, some of the key things for you all to know and to get an understanding about the business framework and the structure. And one such topic, all the businesses, almost all the medium and large size businesses are on the lookout today is about ERP, and how ERP, enterprise resource planning, could facilitate their business, and what performance improvements can be gained by using enterprise resource planning system. So we'll discuss in detail on this topic, introduction to ERP. So I will give some insight on ERP, and your madam gave a nice introduction to me. As my name is Kasun Ariyadasa, and actually I joined IFS company by that time provided ERP software solutions, but now even though IFS ERP is their main product, we have other products as well, like enterprise asset management, field service management, maintenance, and IFS MRO. Few products, not just the ERP systems. But I joined IFS when I just completed my second year degree from the Department of Accounting, University of Sri Jayewardenepura. Part of my internship, I preferred to work for a company and also to learn about ERP, because IT accounting was coming by that time, and I thought, like, better to take up this challenge and learn about ERP. But then IFS called me, and I also felt that, well, that's a company that I can have a good career progression as well as a lot of learning, because ERP facilitate a lot of learning as we are working with the global customer base, and from customer to customer, industry to industry, business processes, practices, how they're handling their businesses are different. So whenever they put forward a different or their requirement, it's quite different to what we experience in Sri Lankan context. So it's kind of a great opportunity for me to learn a lot of things. So I stick with the company and still working for that company. So and I will I mean, to set the stage, probably I can say that you can ask questions at any given time. So please do disturb me. I mostly welcome that approach, as well as I will try to make this kind of a dialogue as much as possible. So I will also try to get your ideas, opinions, and to make it an interactive session. I hope that's fine with you all. Right. So business application. We'll start with business application. So I would like to ask you this question. What is a business? Because if I go back to this slide, it is introduction to ERP. You all know ERP is called enterprise resource planning, right? And ERP is part of the business application. So that's why I thought of, touch a bit on business application. And in that, first, I would like to ask you a question. What do you know? What is a business? Can someone tell me what is a business?
Buying and selling of a product or service.
Exactly. Excellent. It's about buying and selling goods or services, or trade in goods or services. And when it comes to business application, now we know business is a business is kind of buying and selling goods and services, or we can say business is a commercial enterprise or establishment that trades in goods or services. And when I say businesses, in the real business context, a business should have a going concern mindset, and business should run for a foreseeable future. It's not kind of a bubble that comes and goes. It shouldn't be like that. Now, I can remember during my university time, we did a business. That's how we called it. By that time, the famous movie, Bollywood movie was Devdas. I hope you know Devdas. Aishwarya Rai, Madhuri Dixit, Shah Rukh Khan was screening on Devdas, and it was a fantastic film. And I think most of the people loved that very much. So what we did was we went to PETA and we brought we bought some plain white color t-shirts, and then we printed the flyer of Devadas in the chest of it, and then we sold that to the university student, and there was a fairly good demand for that, and we were earning about 150 rupees from each t-shirt. And we tend to say, Machang, Lakshe Kamarak Hambuna. We were earning 150,000 as profit, not the revenue, profit. And we felt like, yeah, it's a Maru business. That was kind of the discussions we were involved. And next time also, when something comes, we can do the same. But I can tell you that's not a business. That's just that comes and goes. But businesses should run for a foreseeable future. If you think of companies like Coca-Cola, companies like Ford Motors, companies like Toyota, companies like British Petroleum, their existence was so long, and also they expect to run for a foreseeable future, not just this month or this year or next year or few years, but run for a foreseeable future. So that's a business. And when those businesses are growing, there are 1,001 transactions happening within those businesses. And when the businesses are growing, the processes, practices are getting more complex and complicated. So then companies like IFS, Oracle, Microsoft, ACPAC, DAC, KC, you can name any company. What they did was they tried to provide different software solutions to run these businesses fairly well, run these businesses smoothly. So then for that we call business application. So business application is a business software or set of computer programs, we can call it, used by businesses to perform various business functions better. And expectation is to increase the productivity and also ability to measure the productivity and perform business functions better. So in a business, there could be so many different kinds of transactions, business units, small business units and departments, but business application help all of those to function better, function smoothly. The demand for that is ever increasing. And today we have come to a situation where most companies are, they have a need of implementing ERP software systems, enterprise resource planning systems. So that has grown to that level, but it was not the case probably 20-25 years ago. Now, we can think of all different companies today, but either they are having an ERP software system or an integrated software system, or if not, they are about to purchase one. Because there is something called business reality that I would like to touch as well. When I say business reality, I can't find a better example than this Enron. Have you ever heard of this company called Enron? A very interesting one. Enron. Anyone of you knows about this company, Enron? Okay, let me explain the situation. There is a magazine called Fortune. released by the Time Corporation. And Fortune publish one special edition every year, which is called Fortune 500, which talks about the largest businesses in the world, largest or most profitable businesses in the world, most growing businesses in the world, most innovative businesses in the world, richest people in the world, likewise. So it's a very interesting. I mean, if you have not read that, please. I mean, you can read things online as well to a certain extent, as well as you can get a hard copy of it. A very good business magazine. It's not typical business magazine, but talks about businesses in details and their success stories, mergers, acquisitions, and I mean insights from different leaders of businesses. A fantastic reading actually. And also I would like to ask this question from you, since we are in this business world and knowledge on businesses are really important. Can you tell me the largest business in the world in terms of revenue? This is not a quiz though, but just to see your interest on reading different aspects. Largest business in the world in terms of revenue? Can any one of you tell me?
Walmart.
Fantastic. It's Walmart. Yes. In terms of profit? In terms of profit? Any idea? Largest company in terms of profit or most profitable company in the world? You can say so.
Sir,
Sorry?
Saudi Aramco.
Fantastic. Yes, it's Saudi Aramco. And now when you look at the largest businesses in the world today, in terms of revenue, it's oil and gas industry. And out of the top 10 companies in the world, top or the largest companies in the world, if I remember correct, 6 of them are in the oil and gas industry. That is Saudi Aramco, Royal Dutch Shell, British Petroleum, Sinopec, State Grid, China National Petroleum, and Walmart, Volkswagen, and I think Amazon, and probably I missed out one company. Other non-oil and gas companies in the world. Walmart is a retail a business having a large number of retail of outlets in the world. The largest company in terms of revenue, and most profitable was Saudi Aramco. Actually, they came into the party very recently. It was not Saudi Aramco, but it was Apple who was leading, but now it's Saudi Aramco. So the complexion of the business is changing as well. Enron was the most innovative company in the world for 6 consecutive years, from 1996 to 2001. According to Fortune, 6 for very renowned analysis, most innovative company in the United States of America in the energy, oil and gas sector. Most innovative company for 6 consecutive years. Would you believe that? 6 consecutive, from 1996 to 2001. And in 2001, they failed. The year that they got the 6th award, consecutive award, the last award, they failed. And when it comes to large business corporates, you know, the owners of the businesses, are not managing their business because it's impossible. So owners, they put money for different businesses, but the set of competent people called managers or executives, they run the business. So there is a conflict between the owners and the managers, because I mean, when the company is performing well, there is no conflict. But when the company is not performing well, then managers try to showcase falsified pictures to the owners to improve their perks. That's happening. And to safeguard that, accounting standards are set, auditing standards are set, and also independent auditors are set, called external auditors. So Enron was audited by the largest audit firm in the world called Arthur Andersen. Largest audit firm in the world by that time called Arthur Andersen. And unfortunately, instead of owners getting a very independent independent audit opinion from the auditor, actually the executives bribed the auditors. So they gave a falsified picture as well. So ultimately, they realized that all these assets were inflated, the profits were inflated, and actually those assets were not there with the Enron. So Enron collapsed in 2001. That was one of the largest scandals, not the largest, but one of the largest scandals in the world. Enron was an eye-opener. Means that if there are loopholes in your business, it won't take too long to fail. It won't take too long to fail. And in a time where the competition is massive, it won't take too long time to fail. So Enron was one such classic example for business failures. And also a lot of undue or lot of how I should call it, lot of people, smart people, I would say, try to take the undue advantage of these loopholes as well. One classic example, this is Sri Lankan banking industry. This person, this bit old story, not a new one. This person is taking small amounts from every transaction, and we are not bothered about these small amounts, because small transactions, 3 to 4 rupees from every transaction. But when we aggregate, taking 3 rupees from every transaction, and every day in a bank, 10,000 transaction, let's keep it to a bare minimum, means 30,000 rupees, and 30 days per month, 900,000 rupees, 9 lakhs earning for every month. Finally, it was revealed, and he was dismissed and taken in front of the courts. But that was the situation when it comes to the business world. So it's not a fair game at all. But in the meantime, to safeguard businesses or secure businesses, these business softwares or business applications emerged. And ERP is one such, to integrate the entire business. And there are accounting softwares like ACPAC, DAC, there are HR related human capital management softwares like SuccessFactors, and there are so much of different kinds of softwares to facilitate each and every business function, to ensure that business runs smoothly, ensure that business units are integrated, and ensure that information flows through the organization, and that information are timely and accurate information. So, I mean, nowadays, almost all the medium and large businesses, they have implemented those business softwares or business applications to mitigate the risk of losing their goodwill, risk of losing their stake, risk of losing their market share, risk of losing their profitability, risk of losing their employees. We can find a lot of dimensions in that, and that's where ERP also emerged. And let's move on to our core topic today, that is ERP. And it's to give you some kind of an introduction to ERP. And when I search what is ERP, when I Googled what is ERP, these are the statements that I found, which is very correct. It says that it's a company-wide computer software system used to manage and collaborate all the resources, information and functions of a business from shared data store. Keyword is shared data store, and it used to manage and coordinate all the resources, all the information, all the functions. So that's where we can call it as ERP. No, it could integrate the accounting function. So then it's not an ERP, but rather an accounting software. It could integrate the human capital function. Then it's a HRO, HCM system, not an ERP system. So ERP system should have the capability to integrate all the resources, all the information, all the functions. Then we can say ERP, Enterprise Resource Planning System. And all the other statements share the same view here. And when move on to ERP, one interesting example that I managed to find. Can someone identify this photo? Can someone identify this photo? Any guess? Sorry?
Ford, Henry Ford.
Henry Ford. Yes. Excellent. Yes, this is Henry Ford. And this motor vehicle is called, do you know the motor vehicle model? It is Model T. Model T. There is an interesting story behind this. I thought to share with you all. Because Ford Model T was first introduced in 1908. And during that era, motor vehicles were available for rich people, and only few motor vehicle manufacturers like Ford, Mercedes, Benz, Daimler, Chrysler. So those were the motor vehicles. Most of them were US based and European based. The key aspect is they were very expensive. Why? Handmade, handcrafting, lot of labor, and labor very expensive. And Mr. Henry Ford, so they were available for rich people like kings, queens, presidents, ministers. So that was the scale during that era, good 120 years ago. And Mr. Henry Ford saw a huge demand from the middle class people, but unfortunately there was any motor vehicle for the middle class people because motor vehicles were very expensive. Then he figured out, well, there is a huge demand, and if I could cater to that demand, or if I could produce a motor vehicle with a lesser price value, then I could cater to that demand. And then motor vehicles should have minimum features, but not very luxurious, but still they should be able to use it without any issue. And the result was this Model T. Model T, it was a revolutionary motor vehicle, and Henry Ford introduced a concept called assembly line production instead of individual handcrafting. Prior to that, it was individual handcrafting, but Henry Ford introduced this assembly line production concept. And believe me, this was first introduced 1908, and by 1927, they managed to sell 15 million Model T cars. 15 million Model T cars to the middle class people. And the demand was huge, and it was regarded as the motor vehicle of the 20th century. And the assembly line production mechanism was regarded as the first mass scale or a methodology to support the first mass scale production. And when we talk about assembly line production, it's a very primitive. If we talk about today's modern high-tech assembly line systems, the one that Ford had a good 100 years ago was very primitive, but still that served the purpose. 15 million Model T cars were sold within 20 years. Was a remarkable feat which no other motor vehicle manufacturers were achieved. They used an automated assembly lines so that the materials come through belts. So in a central unit, they assemble with both automated and lot of manual work, but they managed to reduce the manual intervention by by numbers, so that they managed to produce this Model T car with it's a very minimalized concept, as well as reduced labor and able to cater to the middle class people. And this was kind of an eye opener, and this was the beginning of the mass scale production. And during this era, it was more about inventory management control, because keeping inventory is a cost. Keeping a lot of inventory is a cost. Wear and tear cost, storage cost. So companies tried to keep inventory at the optimum level. What is the level of inventory we should keep? Because keeping lesser inventory create a lot of queues. What is the right balance? What is the number of units that we need to keep, and at which point of time we need to order, and what is that quantity? Was sort of the questions that arise. So inventory management and control system was there till, I think, even in 1960s. And then the concept called material requisition planning emerged with the introduction of software applications to schedule the production process. So material requisition planning generates schedules for the operations and raw materials purchased based on production requirements of finished goods. The structure of the production requirements, the current inventory levels, and the lot of sizing procedures were in operation. So focus was on the material requisition planning, now not the inventory. So then companies were doing well with the material requisition planning, but it doesn't solve all the problems of business. So they use softwares to handle the material requisition planning so that they can replenish material quite quickly. And the next phase in 1980s, that was called manufacturing resource planning, that also called MRP2. It utilizes software applications to coordinate manufacturing process, from product planning to parts purchasing to inventory control to product distribution. So entire manufacturing process was covered there. And the product that came through this manufacturing process is quite good, because if you have a very good manufacturing resource planning software and a methodology, the product that you produce is definitely superior and can attract more market. But yes, having world-class manufacturing processes, companies failed. And then they dig into the problem. Okay, can we only stick into the manufacturing resource planning? Then they try to find answers to the issues that they raise, because some companies, after investigating their manufacturing resource planning or manufacturing processes, they realize that still, even if we have a great manufacturing resource planning software and we are using that software to run our business very well, but we are not earning that expected profit. we are not doing all that well. Why is that? Then they realize that, yes, we do have the best product coming through the best manufacturing processes, but nobody knows about it, unfortunately, because our branding and marketing is poor. Also, we are selling our product at a price lower than the cost. Our costing is poor. Our accounting is poor. We can see competitors are coming to the industry with, more, very superior features. Probably our R&D is not doing so good. Yes, we have the best product, but we don't deliver that product to all these different market segments. Our supply chain is poor. Yes, we have the best product, but unfortunately, every now and then our plant breakdowns reduce our delivery capacity. Our engineering is poor. Yes, we have the best product, but we can see people are moving to competitor companies, and that creates a lot of concerns, problems to our organization. Our HR is poor. Then they realize that having a world-class manufacturing system is very important. But in the meantime, we should take care of the entire organization. We should take care of engineering. We should take care of HR. We should take care of accounting and finance. We should take care of supply chain management. We should take care of research and development. We should take care of every part of the business. Otherwise, we will lose the competitive advantage. We will fail. The competition is very huge, massive. So if we forget about one aspect of our business, then we are done. We will soon collapse. So to facilitate that, enterprise resource planning concept emerge. You plan for your enterprise-wide resources, enterprise resource planning. You should take care of all of your departments, all of your business units, all of the business transactions, and you cannot ignore at least one such. So to facilitate that concept, that idea, that behavior, companies, we call it software companies, emerged with their software solutions called enterprise resource planning system. Prior to that, software companies were producing modular based softwares, HR softwares, inventory planning softwares, material requisition planning softwares, software to streamline the manufacturing processes, HR softwares. But now the demand for an integrated software requirement has emerged, and companies like SAP, companies like Microsoft, companies like IFS, companies like Barnes, Epica, Sage, they emerged by providing a software solution to integrate the business. So ERP is an umbrella to any organization that covers all the business unit transactions. That is the evolutionary process which started from inventory management control system, or we call it inventory planning system, towards enterprise resource planning system. And Model T was one such classic example in which, I would call it as an eye-opener when it comes to mass scale production. And all these questions popped up when you start your operations in that mass scale level. Otherwise, you won't foresee a lot of problems. Now, if you go to your Sillara Kade or the retail shop or a Game Kade, you won't see the need for an ERP software. But if it is a large or a medium size corporate or a business organization, then definitely there is a need for a ERP software. And today, most of the companies have adopted the ERP softwares. If not, they are searching to bring ERP software, because otherwise they will be in big trouble. And also, this evolutionary process has not ended up with the enterprise resource planning systems. No, there are progressive development when it comes to enterprise resource planning. It moved in 2000s to web-based ERP, which is also called ERP level 2. And today we are talking about cloud ERP software. Cloud ERP software, not on-premise ERP software. It doesn't mean that companies are not using on-premise ERP softwares, but cloud ERP software demand has increased by numbers. So that is the situation today, cloud ERP, and we will discuss more on the modern day ERP. But in the next slide, since I talked about this assembly line system, I thought that it would be interesting for you to understand what is this assembly line system. So let me go through that assembly line system in the next slide. This is Ford factory assembly line system in 1910 1910 assembly line system එකේ video එක. Let's see. This video doesn't have any sound. You can see the belts, you can see the raw materials and the materials and the finished goods are coming through the belts. It's not very clear, but it's black and white, but it's very primitive. You can see the wheel cups are coming in the belt and the wheels are coming. You can see how it's coming through the lines here and the manual intervention to fix it. So it's not all replacing the manual work, but significant, because otherwise somebody has to carry all those wheels and it takes a lot of time and effort and means a lot of cost. So this is the first Model T car. And Model T also evolved as well. And within 20 years, they managed to sell 15 million Model T cars. So if I move on to the next slide, I can showcase the world-class manufacturing process in Ford. This is the same company after 100 years. Same company after 100 years. Let's go through that video as well. So same company after 100 years, very sophisticated manufacturing plant, but the beginning was the earlier case. So it had the I got a question actually. In which year Sri Lankan companies use the ERP systems? Actually, I can't answer to that question because I don't know the answer. But what I can tell you is that we've been now, since I worked for IFS now for 15 years or 16 years, we have been selling ERP software for 15, 16 years. And IFS, that means IFS started in Sri Lanka in 1997. And soon they were selling ERP softwares. So a lot of implementation since in this segment is going. So I mean, probably this started in 1990s. So large manufacturing organizations, and definitely in the beginning of the 21st century, the ERP system implementation has grown in numbers. So I can't exactly tell a particular year, and yes, I'm not sure. I mean, even I can't think of a particular year, but definitely in 21st century, that is from 2000 to 2010, growing market, and now we are talking about cloud ERP. So now it's kind of a must to implement ERP software for large and medium-sized companies. But in 1990s and in the early 2020, it was more of seeing ERP as an enabler, as well as since it's a huge cost as well. So just to see the benefits and advantages of implementing an ERP system, and just to see reference customers, how companies implemented ERP systems are doing, and get those information, and then making sure implementing ERP software. Not a very direct answer, but actually I can't give a direct answer to that question. Right. So hope you have seen the progress when it comes to manufacturing or assembly lining system, and this progress for ERP, enterprise resource planning system, is the same. So this picture I showed to you to give more emphasis on ERP software, because if you go to a supermarket like Glomark or Kiehl's, Cargill's, Spa, or whatever, when you take a chocolate, what you do is, let's say you want to buy a chocolate. You take your chocolate, go to the shelf. Go to the shelf, take the chocolate, and go to the cashier. And cashier will read the barcode using the barcode reader, and you make the payment and get the chocolate and go. That's the process. There is a system within that. So now you make one chocolate, and the systems raise a message to the system itself that one chocolate is gone, one Cadbury chocolate is gone, one Cadbury fruit and nut chocolate is gone. And next time you take 10 chocolates, 10 Cadbury fruit and nut chocolates is gone from the store. And next time someone else take 50 chocolates, and it says, yes, 50 chocolates is gone, 50 chocolates are gone, and now is the time to reorder. It gives a message that now is the time to reorder another 1,000 chocolates. And ideally, it should send a message directly to the supplier. Hello, supplier, we are running out of Cadbury fruit and nut 100-gram chocolates. Please send another 1,000 chocolates. And if you go and ask, hello, madam, can I know how many 400-gram Anchor milk packets available in your store? Because I want to buy 50, they will check in this system and let you know that, hello, mister, at this time we don't have another 50 milk packets, but we can give 35 milk packets to you because we are running out of stocks. That possibility is there. But 20 years ago, if you go and ask, then you will not get a clear answer. And 20 years ago, the competition is not in this nature. But today, it's very competitive. And if you don't know the stock levels that you have, then you can't run your store. It is impossible. The showroom manager go and check how many kilograms of leeks we have, how many kilograms of dal we have, how many tablets of Panadol we have, how many kilograms of sugar we have, how many packets of sugar we have, how many packets of brown sugar we have. It's impossible. It's impossible. So they have to have a system to replenish system to bring those stocks to the store, refill those stocks. Otherwise they will fail, and all the supermarkets and all the I think medium and large size supermarkets are doing this. But what I want to mention is that this is not ERP. It's a small, tiny little stock management system, not ERP. Definitely not ERP. Small, probably 2% of ERP as I see it. And ERP is something huge. Say, for example, you are a Toyota Lexus lover. You go and ask Toyota, hello, Toyota, I will pay 10 lakhs today. I need to get my Toyota Lexus done in 2 months' time. And the Toyota Sri Lanka will say, hello, madam. No, we can't provide this Toyota Lexus in 2 months' time. We will provide this Toyota Lexus in 3 months' time. And the price of your Toyota Lexus is 25 million Sri Lankan rupees. And these days we have this limited model available, so that it takes 3 months to get your Toyota done. And we are in a position to give you 10% discount if you pay half of the price by next week. And would you like to proceed with this? You can get a lot of information. And also that information, okay, that information goes through the entire organization as well, because it has a significant importance to different people who take the decision, different units of this organization. For you, you ordered a Toyota Lexus car. You ordered a Toyota Lexus car. But for Toyota, it's not just one order. Probably that is the 10,000th Toyota order in this month. So it's a time to put a big hahu or big cutout or big advertising campaign. Probably that is the 10 millionth Toyota Lexus sale. Time to think of the next generation of Toyota Lexus, next version of Toyota Lexus. Probably that is where you are reaching the maximum capacity of your operations, because you got a lot of demand and you may not be able to cater to your requirements. So you expect this to be delivered within 2 months' time, because historically they were delivering within 2 months' time. But since you have that information readily available, your capacity information, you say, no, it takes 3 months' time. Probably that's a signal for you to think about your manufacturing strategy. Let's increase the plant capacity, because now we see there is a delay in producing, which makes customers unhappy. So for them, it's a very important information to take a strategic decision. So that's why I say, if that information is not going through the entire organization, or if that information is just with the salesperson, then there is no point, no strategic information. So if you have an ERP software that integrates your business, organizations, unit, department, processes, then that information, that order, customer order will run through the organization. within no time. So real time data available to take decisions, accurate decisions, fast information and data helps organization to excel. And if you do not have an enterprise resource planning system, a system that does not integrate your entire business organization, transactions, units, departments, then you won't have that advantage. So that's why companies invest on ERP. And when it comes to ERP, it's a massive system, huge system. It integrates all of your departments. You name it, it should have the capacity to integrate. So it should cover your financials, HR, engineering, projects, manufacturing, supply chain, sales, marketing, maintenance, analytics. You name one such, it should have the capability to integrate. So that advantage helps organization to perform their business better. And that helps organizations who are not using ERP software to think about this. Why we need ERP software? Can't we operate without ERP software? So those were the question. And as you can see, when it says why companies ERP softwares, why companies need ERP software, there are multiple reasons. It's a cost. It's a huge cost to implement an ERP software. It takes time. It takes effort. It takes a lot of money, but still it's worth investing on ERP software, because if you are not integrated, if your business is not integrated, then sooner or later you will fail, and you will fail fast, unfortunately, because you don't know the value of information. Value of information in this competitive world is huge. And when we go into the details why companies need ERP systems, we can say it facilitates fast and accurate decision making. So ERP is an integrated software that integrates all of your departments, all of your business units, all of your transactions. So information goes through all the channels, facilitating faster decision making, because this data accurate, not manual. When you have a manual system, it's very slow, and there is a high risk of inaccurate data. Very slow. I can tell you, this is not an ERP related example, but I can tell you, during my university times, I borrowed a book from the library. And as I said, I was working with IFS when I was an undergraduate. In my third year, I borrowed a book from the library for my exams, and I couldn't hand that over within that 2 weeks time period. So what I did was I had to go to the library in office day. So I thought that I could go to the library and complete my work and come back to the office and work the full day. But that was not the case, because I had to go to the library and I handed over that book, and there was a penalty. Penalty was about not a big amount. It's somewhere around 50 rupees or somewhere around that. But to pay that 50 rupees, I had to take few hours. I had to take few hours because the system was not integrated. I was talking good 15 years ago, the system was not integrated. Spending more than 2 hours to go to the admin department to make the payment, okay, get the receipt, and okay, handing over that and handing over the books and taking the card. I had to move here and there to get this done. If it is integrated, then I could pay online and keep the book on a shelf, or probably scan the book. Now, I mean, when I go to the British Council, now when I take a book, I don't need to go and hand it over to a particular person, but I just put that to there is a kind of a basket of books that I need to, I should put that book so that it will automatically scan things and sort it out online. So those are the facilities that is established today. So it takes a lot of time, and when it comes to business organizations, if you have information late, then there is no advantage of having that information. We are talking about the information efficiency, and we are talking about strong form efficiency, semi-strong form efficiency, weak form efficiency. And if your information flow is very weak, then unfortunately, I have to tell you that those businesses won't run for a long time. But ERP helps to transmit information fast, and those information are accurate and readily available for decision makers to take decisions. And the total visibility is there for the people. So the CEO can take the overview of the performance of the company, okay, readily available, profitable. I mean, he can take a snapshot of the profit, or snapshot of the statement of financial position, or statement of profit or loss, and get the profit of the company as of today, get the wealth or the assets base of the company asset now. That is the total visibility, and that improves reporting and planning. So as I said, if someone asks, hello, what is the total assets of your company? Then you don't need to take all the papers, all the books, and you don't need to ask all the books, and you don't need calculators and all, and you don't need your own method of double entry handling to give that figure. No, it's just one click away using ERP software to get the report. Okay, what do you want? I want the balance sheet, statement of financial position. Well, here is that. Give me only 1 minute. That's even 1 minute is not enough. 1 minute is too much. So I would give that in 10 seconds. That is the level of integration that we are talking about. So that improves efficiency, because when things are integrated, when information goes through the entire organization very fast, and when the ERP has the capability to identify or to identify loopholes, or to showcase where you need to be alert. So those capabilities are also embedded, which improves the efficiency, and that helps to provide greater customer service. And data security and quality. If you have manual systems, you never know. But if you have an integrated system, and if you have a well secured system, you can guarantee your data quality and the security. So that has a significant impact to business organization. Data security, because nowadays businesses are very competitive, and insider information has a lot of value to businesses, and in that, secure information is really a necessity, and ERP helps companies to secure their data and information, and improves collaboration. Because as I said, now when I order my Lexus, then I go to the salesperson and I made my request, and if it is manual, he or she needs to go through the entire organization passing that information, or need to send an email. But if I get 100 emails per day, it's not a seldom thing that I missed out few. But if it is integrated, then that information goes to the relevant party, and if that has the capability to provide messages, signals, alerts, important information pop-ups within the system itself, there is a less chance of missing information. So that improves collaboration, and no one to complain, because information goes through the entire organization. So that helps organizations to collaborate better, and that helps standardize the business processes, and also facilitate regulatory compliances. So it's an automated system, and this system is always comply with the regulations. I can take one classic example, because when European Union was formed, they have a lot of requirements, and they are introducing a concept called European single euro payment area, which is called SEPA, so that in the Eurozone, the payment mechanism is automated, and they introduced a different payment file format that can be sent to the banks or transfer to the bank to transfer funds. If that happens manually, then it may be chaos. So they put a deadline for organizations to integrate their business, incorporate their business requirements. So what we did was we took it and we developed our software in a way in which that all the companies that are operating in European Union, in that Eurozone, has that facility, so they can use or they can they have a positive impact on these initiatives. And as an ERP software provider, we facilitate their requirements, and that helps customers. Otherwise, it's impossible to do these things manually. So whenever new accounting standards pops up, then that is integrated in the ERP software. So as a company, you don't need to bother about these things, or your involvement is much less. It's probably not zero involvement, but rather quite less, because ERP software takes care of it. So there are plenty of reasons to implement in ERP for a company. And nowadays, we see that if a company that does not have an integrated software, then they will lose those advantages of having an ERP software. So the tendency is moving on to ERP software. So ERP software industry is growing. That's the beauty of it. And it says that around 95% of the companies have experienced significant improvement in their workflows after adopting ERP software. Around 95% of the companies. So doesn't mean that 100%, but 95% of the companies, which is significant, means that it gives a big message to the companies who have not implemented an ERP software to implement ERP software. And it says that ERP service provider says that customer satisfaction has increased to 68%, which is significant. And I can take some of the examples from my own company, that is IFS. What our customers say is that they say that their productivity has gone up. In supply chain, it has gone up by 17%. In auditing, their productivity has gone up by 35%. Accounting team's productivity has gone up by 24%. Sales team productivity has gone up by 94%. So these figures emphasize that companies should invest on ERP, and because after implementing this software, their operations has the productivity of their operations has increased significantly. So I can reiterate this. Implementing an ERP software is a huge cost. Therefore, there should be a huge benefit of implementing an ERP software. There should be a huge benefit. And looking at the trends, looking at the market growth rate, we can say confidently that implementing ERP software is really essential for large and medium-sized organizations to stay competitive, to run for a foreseeable future, to be more profitable, and to grow their asset base and deliver greater products with greater customer value. And let's look at some more market statistics. And it says that between 2017 and 22, the global ERP system market is expected to enjoy up to $47 billion in revenue. Now, when it comes to, and the annual cumulative growth rate is around 10% to 20%. And when it comes to IFS, it's somewhere closer to 28%. So ERP industry grows more than 10%. Why? Because companies are implementing ERP software. Companies are purchasing ERP software to integrate their business organization. And it says around 53% of the business consider ERP to be a priority investment. 53% of the business organizations say that ERP is their priority investment. And I can tell you that, historically, when the ERP was not there, companies are using different legacy systems. Okay, for HR, one system, for accounting, one system, for manufacturing, one system, but they are not integrated. So it is a huge cost to maintain these legacy systems. And some companies, they are having 50, 60, or even hundreds of legacy systems. Large corporates having large global or multinational operations. Lot of legacy systems. Maintaining those legacy systems are a huge cost. Say, for example, now the HR system is upgraded to a new version. So now what we have to do? We have to see whether that is compatible with the other systems. And every now and then, if there are changes to these different legacy systems, we have the pain of integrating. So that is where ERP system helps immensely, because it's a one solution, one system that integrates all of your business units. And you don't need to bother about, if the latest version arrives, then it's just a matter of upgrading it to the latest version. You don't have a lot of legacy systems to work on. So you just upgrade it. So then you get the latest of it. And when it comes to the usage of ERP, as you can see, now all the businesses see this ERP as a very important investment. And when we look at the market segment, you can see manufacturing organizations, distribution organizations, service organization, construction industry, retail organization, utilities, healthcare, aerospace and defense industries. In the manufacturing organization, also automobile industry, they have a greater growth. This shows that almost all the industries are using ERP, or if not, they are evaluating buying an ERP software. I got a question. Can we say that ERP is one of decision supporting system? Good question. I'm not saying ERP is one of decision support system, because ERP runs through the entire triangle, from transaction processing system to management information system to decision support system to executive I can't remember the exact word, executive systems, let's say. So it has the capability of all these different systems. For the data entry operator, it's a transaction processing system. So CEO, it's more of an intelligence system or executive system. For the middle level, it works as a decision support system or management information system. So it goes across all these information systems, not particularly connected with one system. That's how I view ERP. So a lot of talking from me. Thought of asking or deviating from our topic. I put this slide. So can someone answer to this question? Well, a man is trapped in a room. The room has only two possible exits. That is two doors. Through the first door, there is a room constructed from magnifying glass. The blazing hot sun instantly fries anything or anyone that enters. Through the second door, there is a fire-breathing dragon. How does this man escape? Can someone answer to this question? So I can take a break.
Man can wait until night and escape from the first door.
Fantastic, fantastic. Yes, man can wait till night and escape very easily. So these are called lateral thinking. You just need to think a bit and answer. That's the correct answer. Well, let's move on. We have some more time and we have some more information. Now ERP software vendors, I would like to touch on. I'm pretty sure sooner, I mean, when you are move on to industry, then I'm pretty sure that you will work with one or more ERP software vendors. One or more ERP software vendors. Now the business organizations are implementing ERP software, and a lot of mid and large organizations have already implemented ERP softwares. So when it comes to ERP software market, I can say that SAP is leading from the front, and all the other ERP software vendors like Microsoft, Oracle, IFS, Epica, Infosage, they share almost equal number of market share, but their market share is growing. SAP was having about 50% of the market share probably 15 years ago, but now it's declining, not because SAP is doing bad, but because other companies are emerging with latest technologies, so that the competition is immense. I can tell you that when it comes to the ERP market or ERP suppliers, their competition is massive. And if we do not embrace that competition, or if we do not compete well in that competition, then it won't take too long for ERP companies to fail, because competition is massive. We will talk about this in a short while. And if you do not understand your competition, as I said, it won't take too much of time for you to fail. One classic example that I can share with you, that is from Kodak. Kodak was the first entrant to the filming industry, a US-based company, first entrant to the filming industry. So as you all know that if you are the first entrant to a particular industry, then you can earn supernormal profit, above average profit. And Kodak was earning supernormal profit. Unfortunately, their R&D was not so brilliant. I could say not so much into research work. They were more into development work, and they were not very much keen on the competition, because US company earning supernormal profit, first entrant to the market. But a Japanese company called Fuji went into US market with lesser price, but with more features, and they moved to the digitalization, where Kodak was manual. They believe their manual operations rather didn't move on to the digitalization, where Fuji went with the digital features, as well as Fuji, a Japanese company, with a lesser price. And Kodak, they didn't believe that, okay, Fuji can capture their market. Actually, it was not the case initially, because, well, a Japanese product with lesser price, yes, I know it's with more features, but still a US person would call it as inferior. However, Fuji, they keep on providing new features. And also with Fuji, other Japanese companies like Sony, Nikon, Canon also went into the US market with more features for a lesser price. Then for anyone who like to get into the filming industry, it was quite tempting to purchase this low price, more feature cameras. And what has happened? Actually, they did so. And the triggering point was that 1984 Los Angeles Olympics, by that time, all major events were covered by Kodak, was given to Fuji. And there onwards, they were failing, and they were failing quite fast. And after all, they introduced their digital cameras, but that was too late. I can tell the same thing for ERP market. Technological changes are evolving very rapidly, ever so fast. And if these ERP companies are not embracing the changes, then it won't take too long time for them to fail. And all these companies are very competitive, highly technical, and they embrace the technology. They have very good set of people, consultants, developers, industry experts. So they exist now for a long time. Now IFS 37 years, and SAP and other companies even more. And if you think of Microsoft, ERP is not their only business. They are very dynamic and diversified business organization. So you can see the level of competition. And in that competitive world, we have to be very keen on our development, because we are talking about ERP. We are not talking about an accounting system, and we are not talking about an inventory planning system or an HR system or a manufacturing system. We are talking about an ERP system that integrates your entire business. So in that, we said that the competition is immense. And on top of that, we see our customer requirements are dynamic, changing ever so fast. Now in Sri Lanka, we had a sales tax system some times ago, and now we are having VAT system. And also some other countries, they have different tax system. In India, they have so complex, complicated tax system, Karnataka tax system, state tax system, and the central government tax system. So very unstructured, I would say. And customer requirements are changing rapidly, and we have to adapt to. We have to embrace those. And business practices and processes are also changing. From one country to another, their business practices are different. And from one industry to another, their business processes are different. Now, when we are talking about ERP, we are talking about multiple countries. Now, we are developing our software not just for Sri Lanka. We are developing our software for UK, for US, for Australia, for Europe, for Russia, for India, for Middle East. So our ERP software is or should have the capability to cater to all of these country requirements, regulations. And in the same time, we have to maintain one single solution. You can see the complexity, right? How to build a one single solution that can facilitate different countries around the globe, that can facilitate multiple industries like oil and gas, aerospace and defense, automobile, construction industry, project-based industry, retail, pharmaceutical, healthcare, finance. One solution catering to all these industries as well as catering to all these countries. You can see the level of depth and breadth that should have within an ERP software. And on top of that, so many country regulations, legal framework. Now, Brazil, if we take a country, Brazil, their tax system is very complex. Even when we move our goods from one store to another store, then we have to report that to their inland revenue. So that's very complex. And also industry developments. Industries are evolving. Now, oil and gas industry, oil rigs that were there 20 years ago are no more with us today. So industries are evolving rapidly. And when you are dealing with multiple industries, then you have to be on top of with all these industry requirements and advancement of technology. So I think technology grows faster than ever before. One classic example is our smartphone. I think almost all of us are using smartphones today. When I was starting my university, I had a brick size of a smartphone. No, sorry, not smartphone. Smartphone, brick size of a phone, and only what I could do is I was able to set the alarm, and I can call, and I can send a message. That's all. But today, your smartphone is your computer. Your smartphone is your television. Your smartphone is your radio. Your smartphone is your alarm clock. Your smartphone is your remote controller. Your smartphone is your torch. Your smartphone is your camera. Your smartphone is your video recorder. Your smartphone is your timer. Right? Your smartphone is your audio recorder. Your smartphone is your iPod. Your smartphone is your DVD player, VCD player. You see? And now what has happened? You seldomly send a message, or you seldomly call, but you're on Facebook always. You're on LinkedIn always. That's the evolution, advancement of technology. It replaced a lot of technology equipments, which is no longer there with us. I hardly see a VCD player or DVD player these days. Why? We all have smartphones. Why bother about putting CDs, go to a CD shop, buying CDs and put that and stay forever in front of television? Not required. Why do we need to have these alarm clocks? No, in phone, I can set multiple alarms. If I want to get up at 6 o'clock, I put first one at 5:45, the second one is at 5:50, third one is 5:55. For the fourth one, I get up at 6 o'clock. That's how it is. And also in the ERP industry, technology is evolving. So we need to bring that technology to us. We will touch that in detail in the next slide. Can you identify the person in the left as well as person in the right to make it a bit more interactive? Can someone identify these two gentlemen?
Alan Turing.
Yes, Alan Turing. What do you know about Alan Turing, son?
I think he broke the enigma.
Yes, yes, fantastic. And the person in the left?
Benedict Cumberbatch.
Yes, Benedict Cumberbatch. It was from the Imitation Game, the film that was on the life of Alan Turing. He was considered as the father of theoretical computer science and artificial intelligence, Alan Turing. So he found the setting of the Germans' Enigma machine, one of the great scientists we can call it. And why artificial intelligence? Because we talked about changes in the technology. We talked about embracing these technological changes. So I will not go into detail of this, but when it comes to ERP software and its development, we should embrace those technological changes if we want to be competitive, if we want to be alive in this competition. So in that, artificial intelligence, one aspect, user experience. Nowadays, it's not about giving so much of features to the customers, but giving a greater experience to the users who are using the ERP software. And we need to embrace machine learning. How can I predict things using machine learning algorithms? Okay, when a customer asks me, hello company, can you give me these goods, and I need 3 months to pay that back, and when I enter that customer's name, let's say ABC, customer ABC, the system raise a message to me that, hello Kasun, customer ABC is always delaying their payments, and they will pay for this invoice in another 7 months. But customer said that they will pay in 3 months, but the system says that considering their payment patterns, they will pay this invoice in 7 months time. So you will face a cash outflow if you create this, or if you accept this order. So use technology to make decisions better is very important. That then Internet of Things. No, if you can use the IoT technologies to improve your business, then that's fantastic. I can give an example from IFS that in rural areas where there are a lot of forest, sometimes if there is a breakage in the electric lines, then it takes a lot of time to figure out where the actual problem is, in which area this tree has fallen. So then you can, if you can use drone cameras integrated with your software and identify the place that has the problem in the electric line, then you can straight away dispatch your team to find out that. Otherwise, a lot of labor. Otherwise, it takes a lot of time to do the repair work, but it's not the case now. So take that Internet of Things into your ERP software. And cloud service, cloud is the modern ERP softwares, because customers won't install the ERP softwares in their machines, because now user to user, their behaviors are different. If you are a CFO, if you are travel often, then you will not carry all these laptops and all with you, but you may take your tab and the smartphone with you. And even when you're traveling, you should be able to authorize some payments. So then you don't need to install a software in your phone or a laptop or even your tab. You don't need, you just need to log in through a browser, whether it's Chrome or Internet Explorer, doesn't matter, using the browser. And it's a browser-based subscription model, depending on the users. It's not the number of installations. So if you don't need a software for that use any longer, then the subscription, you can remove that subscription. So cloud, that's the very lucrative market. When it comes to IFS, we have a greater development of the progress or a growth when it comes to the cloud services. And wearables, mobile applications. As I said, the smartphone should be able to solve a lot of problems. Why should carry a lot of laptops? Or nowadays hardly see desktops, but smartphones should have the facilities. So it's not just like wait someone else to do, try it out, and then take it later. That's not the mindset in this industry anymore. It's how we can become the first entrant to that, how we can be the first one to embrace the technology. And it's not all about these things. There are a lot of things, and some are actually I also don't know. Digital twins, how you can map someone's operations with the computer robot and enable that robot to do the operation. Say, for example, if there is a person who enters bills or invoices day in, day out, why we should have a person to do that instead? A robot could do that. Or robotic process automation is also part of that. And also customizable applications. You know, I don't want to work with the entire ERP suite, but I'm working with a particular function. So let's give the opportunity for me to customize my software or my segment of the software. So customizable applications, digital twins, robotic process automation, user experience, machine learning, artificial intelligence, IoT, cloud mobile applications, and many more are there when it comes to the latest technologies. And it's very important that we embrace those latest technologies to our ERP software. And all those companies that I mentioned in a previous slide, you know, they are investing heavily on these new developments. And that's the way to get the best advantage of it. So from, as you can see, where we started, that's the inventory planning systems to cloud-based enterprise software, enterprise resource planning systems. You know, there is a great evolution. And what I can tell you is that ERP systems, so ERP software, so ERP solutions are ever evolving. And the pace of that evolvement has increased very, very rapidly. So the industry is growing. Companies are implementing ERP softwares, as well as ERP software itself are growing with the advancement of technology as well. So with that, I come to the end of my presentation. Now we can have a Q&A session if you have any questions. Any questions or anything you need to clarify? If I know, I can share with you all. Or did you find this interesting?
So if we need to start a career to become an ERP consultant, what would be the best basic?
Yes, good question. Actually, when it comes to ERP consultants, there are two folds, I can say. That is functional consultants and technical consultants. So if it is a functional consultant, then you have to have the expertise in one particular domain. For example, if you want to be a finance consultant, then you have to have a good knowledge on accounting and finance. If you want to have a technical consultant, then, I mean, after the degree, then you should have a hands-on experience. It's not just the technical knowledge, but also understanding the ERP software, its architecture, and how to interact with the customers and how quickly we need to solve the customers, understanding the customers. So it's a broader thing, I would say. So your question is how can you become a consultant? Then hands-on experience is a must. Otherwise it's difficult. I mean, going through trainings and all, it's difficult to become a consultant. So in that regard, you need to work for a company that provides ERP software, company like IFS, SAP, Oracle, or whatever. And I know that I mean, if you work for a non-ERP company, I don't know whether I put that correctly. Say if you work for Toyota, let's say Toyota is using IFS ERP software, and then you will work with the ERP software in that. But then you are restricted to one particular aspect. So in that case, that want all that help to become you a consultant, technical consultant. And I can tell you that when it comes to the ERP market, the demand for technical consultants are quite high. Now, I can tell you, like, when it comes to our company, IFS, it's not just the people who work for IFS work as functional or technical consultant. No, once they are well established and once they got the knowledge, then there are a lot of people who do their own businesses, who do work as consultants to different companies around the globe. I mean, they stay in Sri Lanka, but they work for UK companies as consultants, providing the expertise to their business organizations, both technical for technical and functional aspects. So the market is growing, and they are called ERP consultants, and also they call like IFS consultants or SAP consultants or Microsoft consultants. You can see they are earning a lot of money as well in that, and quite independent. Did I answer to your question?
Yes, yes, but if you need to build a career as a ERP consultant, what is the first stage? I mean, it's like
Join.
internships, joining.
Yes, to join a company that build ERP software. Any more questions? No more? Did you have an uninterrupted session today? Oh, were there any disturbances while I was presenting? No.
No, sir, there were no disturbances. So I would like to thank you for spending your valuable time for us. This is a very informative session, sir. I think we all have got many things which are not very much familiar before about businesses as well as ERP concepts, and the session was very much interesting. I would like to say that first, as well as thank you very much our lecturers for arranging these sessions, and I must again thank you so much, you, Mr. Kasun Ariyadasa, the director and software engineer of IFS R&D International Private Limited. Thank you, sir. Have a good day and be safe, everyone.
Thank you so much. And I can tell you one last word, because I can say this very safely. I mean, I think it's my responsibility here to deliver these kind of presentations, because I came through a local university channel, as I see, because I studied in a college in down south, and it was a bit hard when it comes to all these learnings, getting through the A-level examinations, and went to the University of Sri Jayewardenepura. All of these because of the free education. So I believe that I have a responsibility to contribute to that. This is a very small step, as I see, to contribute to the society, and I sincerely hope that if you, you will become leaders very soon, because we are getting older, and the baton is now with you to lift this country as a whole to the next level. And you all are talented people, and I'm sure that you all are molded in a way that you serve this country in a good way. And if you get an opportunity to even a small step like this to serve to the community, please do that. It's a humble request from me, because I read this book called I read a lot of books, not to boast, but just to get give you some kind of a background here. This book was called who will cry when you die, and it started with this proverb from South American, that is said that, son, when you were born, you cried, but the world rejoiced. Live a life that when you died, world cries, but you rejoiced. So if we can be responsive to the society, to the people, then we can be happy, and we all do this for happiness, but nothing else. So that's my one last comment on this, and thank you so much for giving us this opportunity.